true or false, you purchased that Let's Boogie hat at a gas station? Don't lie. Don't lie.
False.
Come on.
False.
Come on.
I was
Gift shop in Clearwater Beach, Florida. This is Basketball Friends. He is Matt Tait. I am Nick Schwerdt. Kansas with their season opening win against Omaha. And these games are always fun, Matt, because it's the first taste you get. And you know that it's against a bad Omaha team, but because it's all you have to go off of, you're like, okay, what conclusions can we draw from this game? One of the worst teams in college basketball came into Allen Fieldhouse, had it within 7 with 16 to go. Let's make some grand sweeping conclusions.
You have to.
Well, what else do we have to go off of, man? We've been waiting for this for 6 months. So in that vein, I want to do a little true or false based off what I saw against Omaha on Monday night, and then we'll just see where it goes. You game with that?
Let's play.
All right, 7 guys logged 14 minutes in the season opener. Juwan Harris, Kevin McCullough, Gradey Dick, Jalen Wilson, KJ Adams, Ernest Udeh, and Bobby Pettiford. So your first true or false, that will be the main rotation for Kansas basketball this year.
Yeah, man, I like true on that. I don't know that the minutes will be distributed the same way, but I like true with those bodies, those guys, those names. You know DeJuan's going to play games where he's 38, 39 minutes. Probably same with Jalen. The fact that they were able to get all those other guys, the reserves, up there a little bit more is maybe a little off as far as what the actual rotation will be as it plays out. But that's the group. It's going to be hard for other guys to crack into that. Zach Clements obviously has a shot. Joe Yusufu has a shot. I don't know that they're right there yet.
Okay, you mentioned Zach, and that's the guy I think we both thought would be the starting big for this team, and he hardly got on the court. Against Omaha, Matt, like that's a team that the tallest guy was 6'9". These are the games where you feel like the big guys can feast because against these lesser competition, they don't have the size down low. That's the biggest advantage, I think, a lot of times. Figured this would be the time where we would sort of see all the big guys get a shot and maybe see how it shakes out. The fact that Zach already seems to be behind both KJ and Ernest, what does that sort of tell you about where he's at right now?
I think he's still in his own head for sure and not comfortable understanding what he is, what they want him to be, what he needs to be. I think part of that is the result of what happened last year, where he was injured most of the season and didn't get to play a real role. In and out, snippets here, snippets there, some really big moments, but some really nothing moments too. And so I don't think, even though he's got a year under his belt, I don't think he ever got fully comfortable maybe at the college level. So he's got to do that this year. And then he's got to figure out, where do I fit on this team, which is totally new? How do I fit with these other bigs? What should I do? It's going to take some time. And it obviously is a work in progress right now. I feel for the guy. I think there's a little bit of a challenge there for him to get back into that mix. And I'm not sure what it'll take for him to get there.
You mentioned if KJ Adams were 2-3 inches taller, the conversation as to who the starting big is going to be wouldn't even be in question. I really like the way that KJ played. Again, he benefited by the fact that Omaha didn't have any size, so he can get away with being 6'7" and super athletic. He had 8 offensive rebounds, man. That is one thing between him and Ernest that seems to be defining characteristics. They're explosive, right? KJ's not as big, but he is strong.
Oh, yeah.
He is built, right? Physical guys down low who can just do the little things. Offensive rebounds and rim run.
Sure, and it's not that different than what they want from every position, really. If you think about their wings, what are they? They're athletic, they're disruptive, they can get out and push transition. You did have a shot last night where I think it was Ernest, actually, the play I'm thinking of, that Gradey punched. That was Ernest who got around the guy on the entry pass, disrupted it, threw it ahead. You're off and running. I mean, that's what fits this team. That's what these guys are. And so there's a lot to like about what those guys bring in terms of just athleticism. And Zuby's not that far behind. He's just a slightly different guy and maybe maturity-wise, just a hair behind, but he could do the same thing. And I think that's what fits this team with Jalen and Gradey and Kevin McCullough and those guards. They can run with anyone. And so if those bigs can do that, if they can facilitate that and make that a part of what this team's identity is, that's how they're going to play. That's how they're going to decide which one of those guys plays or which 2 or 3 of those guys play.
There's one guy who I feel like I was really sleeping on this offseason. I didn't talk about him at all. Bobby Pettiford. Coming into this season, I didn't expect much from him. I went back and looked at last year. He logged double-figure minutes in 5 of KU's first 6 games. Now, granted, Jalen missed the first 3. Bobby was playing as a true freshman when you were already playing DeJuan and Remy, guys at his same position, 25, 30 minutes a night. The rest of the season kind of fell apart once he got injured, but all of a sudden I'm like, oh, how did I not see this coming? This guy is clearly this team's backup point guard.
The injuries really did a number on him. I don't think it was mentally as much as it was just comfort. What he is super competitive, super athletic, super tough, and just fearless. I just think there's so much to like about his game. This is what healthy Bobby Pettiford looks like. He's told us a couple of times already this season that he feels as good as he's felt in a long, long time. The cool thing is there's a lot more there too. I mean, this guy has bounce. He can finish above the rim, but right now he's focused on, I want to lock up my role. I want to play. I want to be a part of this team. And so I'm going to do all the things that I can to make sure the coaches understand. I'll play defense. I'll facilitate. I'll turn it up. I'll do whatever you want me to do. And then once he gets that role established, once it's like, okay, you're our guy, which, I mean, Norm basically said after the Omaha game, yeah, he's the backup point guard. And, oh, by the way, we're going to play those two together some. I love the lineup of Bobby and DeJuan on the floor together. Good luck, man. You don't want to be anywhere near the ball when those two are on the floor.
Yeah, I was watching the game with my dad on Monday, and he said, you think they'll play Bobby and DeJuan together? And I said, if they can both defend, and we know one of them can. And that's going to be the easiest way for him to get playing time, because when you think about the rest of that rotation, Juan's not going anywhere. Jalen Wilson isn't going anywhere. Kevin McCullough's not going anywhere. Grady's only one game in, but it looks like he might be the team's most natural scorer. So the easiest way for Bobby to get in isn't going to be taking anybody's minutes. It's going to be, can you also defend to just give us more versatility in the lineups that we can play?
DeJuan Harris is going to play 38, 39 minutes in a lot of games. So you're not putting Bobby in to take him out. And really what it comes down to there is probably a Bobby versus Joe thing, right? If that's sort of a rotation spot up for grabs. Right now, I mean, I don't even think it's really that close. Joe looks timid still. He looks a little uncomfortable. I don't think he's looked that way throughout the preseason. He looked great from everything I heard. It's been one game. Joe can't have many more games like he had against Omaha and hope that they're going to, hold on to a chance for him to crack that rotation. He needs to be more productive. Frankly, it's not easy, man. That's a tough rotation to crack. This is a talented roster. I've been telling everyone, man, that this guy, do this podcast with this guy named Nick, and he never talks about Bobby Pettiford. He's just always, I mean, I've been telling everyone that.
One more good performance from him, and he's Bob Pettiford. I just think that sounds cooler. I got one last true or false for you. This will be Gradey Dick's only season at Kansas.
Oh, man. I lean false. A couple more games like he played the other night, and I could change my mind in a hurry. I know that talking to Gradey and his family before he even got to KU, they're willing and prepared for whatever. I don't think it's a predetermined thing by any means. He looks like the real deal, and if he continues to play at that level, it's going to be hard for him to pass up the opportunity to go. Sometimes he hasn't done much, and then bam, like lightning hits, and he'll score 7 or 8 or 9 in a row. It brings the energy up. It brings him up. It brings his teammates up. It brings the building alive. And next thing you know, then he's on his way to 20 plus. The fact that he can do it so fast is what really stands out to me.
You look at the NIL opportunities for him. On3, the site that tracks some of that stuff, they said that right now he is receiving NIL deals that have a value of, I believe it's $177,000. And if he keeps playing like that, Matt, more NIL deals come. And if it gets to a certain extent, this is going to be the perfect case study of how much NIL is going to impact kids' decisions as to whether or not to stay in college or to go pro, because if that number starts creeping up to $250,000, if you're not a lottery pick and you're just a late first round pick, I think all of a sudden it gets to the point where you do seriously consider sticking around, because it's not just that this guy's making money, it's that he has that star aura about him. Watching that game, he does not look like a freshman out there. He looks like he knows exactly how good he is. He knows that he's a threat to score from anywhere on the court, and that he is not passive. He is not deferring to anyone. And that's something that you don't often see for kids, not just as a freshman, but kids with that talent level as well, who sort of have to juggle that line between, I know I'm good, but I'm also a freshman, so I need to defer and fit in.
Yeah, and a big reason for that is his teammates. These dudes want him to do that. It's not, hey, freshman, wait your turn. It's go off, man, do you. If he does that, they're better. That makes Jalen better. That makes DeJuan better. That makes the team better. everybody benefits.
Because they need his skill set. They need his
100%.
floor spacing, and he's somebody the defenses have to account for 26 feet in.
100% right. You said it, man. He's a star, and he's a star in the making. He's got everything you could possibly ask for a freshman, man. I mean, you take a junior that plays that well in one game, so we got to see it.
The one game, but the way that he scored seemed to be sort of independent of the team who was playing him. Now, you could say there are going to be other teams who aren't going to lose him on the court and give him open shots. It's not as though he was wide open in the corner for those threes. You can't give him an inch of space without him being able to pull up, because that trigger is so quick and that shot is so flawless that I was watching that and I said, this is independent of the opponent that you're playing against. That's something that's going to travel even into Big 12 play.
That's a great way to put it, and it's also made even more true by the fact that, okay, let's say some Big 12 team rolls in here and wants to take Gradey away. Well, what do you risk then? You leave Jalen? You leave Kevin wide open in the middle. You leave DeJuan so that he can kill you driving to the rim. I mean, there's a lot that you give up if you try to focus your defensive effort around just stopping Gradey, because it probably won't work. Other guys can kill you on this team too.
True or false, you purchased that Let's Boogie hat at a gas station. Don't lie. Don't lie.
False.
Come on.
False.
Come on.
I was
gift shop in Clearwater Beach, Florida.
I was a host of an event here in town that had sort of a theme, like a Boogie Nights theme, maybe, right? I didn't have to wear anything costumey, but they gave me the hat to wear while I was doing my thing. And I think it's perfect for this episode. I think it's perfect for this time of the year because basketball has started. It's time to frickin' boogie.
You should put that into the lead of one of your articles. Basketball season, maybe ahead of the Duke game. Right, basketball season's officially here. Let's boogie. You promise you'll do that?
Yeah,
True
I
or
promise
false?
it'll get.
True or false? You'll put that in one of your pieces.
I promise I will, and I also promise it'll get edited out.